sorry about that. Sorry. So let's see. Now I'm just like low. That's cool. So sorry about that, guys. Well, here we go. This was our story anyway, so I just want to like clarify this, and then we will get to the Q&A. The current vibe is that of being one in our personal power and ready to take things on. It's just, it's fair, it's balanced, and it's kind of pivotal. It's in this pivotal point. So we've got that. That's the current energy. We can leave behind apathy. We can leave behind things that were self-defeating. So as general as that is, you can be like, hello, thank you. I made it. I'm so sorry. And I'm sideways and I've got my phone plugged in. I got this. I got this. Better already, right? And then what we can do, something more, thing that we can put into action is reflection, you know. Yeah, this is better. I can't stand this way. It just wasn't working before, I swear. I swear I tried this first. Reflecting, knowing that it's a fresh start, I guess, is like the best way to say it. So that's like my little reading in case it didn't really come very clearly before. So I'm ready for some Q&A. It is, I don't know what time it is, but that's okay. So I'll have like a good 15 minutes or so for some Q&A if you guys have any questions. And I feel like I'm bad because, you know, nope, I'm not a Gemini ascendant. I'm actually a Virgo, is my ascendant. So that's my Virgo. Yeah, I fixed it. Woohoo. Well, ASMR is a very beautiful experience, and I'm trying to figure out sometimes how to balance these between... Oh, okay. Yeah, I do personal tarot. I'm not going to do one today because I don't have enough time. Yeah, the ASMR part is certainly something that I love, and it is tricky for me to sometimes balance between doing enough ASMR content or including it enough into what I want to do, and then also bringing in my own things that I'm passionate about, because as much as you guys, or we all, you know, all of us here probably love ASMR, it can be, for me anyway, I have to talk about what I'm passionate about. If I don't, I feel like I'm not being true to myself. So that's part of it. For the guided meditations, that's definitely something I'm working on. I have a few written, I have a few recorded. It's more of the musical part to it, or the audio, the like background that I want to perfect. So that's kind of what holds me up. I know there is no perfection, but you know, it comes around to that. Oh, okay. You don't experience... That's really interesting because you're so good at ASMR, so I'm surprised that you don't experience it. Alright, so let me get through this. Sorry, guys. Whoop. I didn't make a video on the Supermoon in Gemini. I talked about this a little just before the other live stream because I just wasn't inspired. There was nothing really inspiring me to work with the energy. It was like I needed to like step back so that things could come through on their own, and it's like I kind of gave it the freedom to play out in whatever way. And that's when I had this like dream about my mom and I got this message from her. So it was more of like a personal experience for me, and I wasn't very inspired to create anything for that moon, that supermoon. How do you keep from backtracking? I've been working on staying positive, but sometimes I fall into the same patterns. Those are super difficult. It is hard to backtrack, but I found that for me, putting something in place that is very, I want to say more concrete, more of a program, more of something that is something I can go back to and have these approaches when I do come up with these negative patterns again. So let's say a great example is Dynamic Thought, that book. I have a little series on that book, but there's some really amazing practices in it where it talks about leaving behind those things that are keeping you back, so the backtracking stuff. And for me, that really helps. So when I fall into a negative thing, like, oh, my house seems so far away, or oh, this is taking so long, or oh, I'm whatever, and I kind of fall into this pattern of maybe fear or not having everything that I want right now or something like that. It's like I have to just catch myself doing that, reject it, and then focus on the fact that, like, what my house looks like for example, or how beautiful things are, or how the lifestyle that I have, or all of those things, and just kind of like focus again on it. It's hard, but catching yourself in that act is what helps me. I do my own music for the most part, and I'm going to be using the singing bowl, so that's kind of what I'm going to do. So yeah, thank you. How can you not be stressed out? That's a hard one. You have to make a choice not to be stressed out and see what you can do and what feels right for you. Everyone is different. I could say, if I was talking to my brother, I might say, oh, make sure you keep being creative, because when you're not creative, you start to get all bottled up and you don't have that expressed, so you have to find what works for you. But in general, not being stressed is good. To just take yourself into the moment and remove yourself from whatever is stressing you out and focus on what's really important to you. It's kind of hard, so it has to be specific for each person, but that's like a very general way to do it. Keep meditating, keep finding the things that bring you peace, and then focus on them. You have to have a mental discipline to not focus on the negative, because that's always going to be there. You're always going to have bills, you're always going to have something that you can focus on that's negative, like, oh, do you believe what they said to me? Or, oh, why is this guy acting like this? And the more you feed into it, the more stressed you're going to get, Okay. Oh, thank you, Laura. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to backtrack here. Hey, girl. Hey, Miss Sink. Okay. I'm going to try to find... Sorry, I'm like losing you guys. In the questions, I mean. How do you attempt to heal a relationship with someone when the other person isn't open to healing and doesn't recognize problem? You can't. You can't heal a relationship if the other person isn't participating in healing the relationship. You just can't. You can do magic, to like try to like get somebody to like win them over. And it's not a good idea. I don't think that anyone would suggest that to you, because it's just not. What you should do is work on yourself to see how you can release this person in the best way and attract to you and align with you someone who is better suited to you. So let's say you like the qualities of this person, or there's something about them that you really are attracted to and you feel connected with. There's certainly going to be things that are shitty about them too, just like the fact that, they're not willing to participate in making the relationship better or healing the relationship. So you kind of have to just like let them go in a sense. Now, when it's a family member and it's not like a romantic relationship, that's kind of different. Like, you'll always kind of come back around. But you have to give people space to breathe and do the changing on their own. If they don't recognize that there's a problem, it has to kind of come from them. For trans or non-binary people to connect with spirituality, it seems really gendered. I mean, language is gendered. It was simple for us to use those terms, just like masculine and feminine energy. It's like easy to say that. I have a problem with even the term negative energy, because negative doesn't necessarily mean bad. It's just what we've kind of used as this language to say like bad, But negative energy is just like a negative side of the magnet. It's more receptive. It's more feminine even. So, and by that I mean feminine energy, not like, being a woman or identifying as a woman. I think that there's a lot of stuff that goes into specifically alchemy, where I think that trans or non-binary people will find a lot of wealth from. So there's another YouTuber, I think her name is, I know her name, but she has a few names. I want to say Shira7, something like that, Shira7. She has some videos on working with alchemy, but there's a book that I have, I'm looking on my bookshelf. It's called like Alchemy for Dummies. It's like something really simple like that. If you're trans, non-binary and you want to get into spirituality, I would go with alchemy, because that's like really the sacred marriage, the sacred union, and it's supposed to be the energies within you already. So if you feel very strongly that you're like a combination of these, like, masculine and feminine, maybe more masculine in your youth and then more feminine later on, or anything like that, I think that you'll find a lot of beauty and things that you can apply to yourself there. For people asking about my tattoo is like, you guys ask all the time. It's a Celtic design that I got when I was 18 years old in England. It doesn't really mean all that much to me. I I was 18. Most of my tattoos are from when I was 18 or younger. So, what's going to happen there? This one, it's like this Celtic design. It has like the Trinity stuff in it, which I was really into back then, and I still am. And it has like a warrior vibe to me. So it's like, I don't know, people say it looks like a penis. Whatever. I think it looks like a shield of some kind. So, yeah, that's what that one is. Yeah, if the person is a family member, there's just not that much you can do. You just have to, wish them the best and just carry on with your life and carry on with making you happy. Back to that relationship question. No, I didn't grow up in New York. I grew up in New Jersey. I moved to New York about 10 years ago, I want to say. Let's see. Thank you, guys. The hanging on the wall, this thing, that's some sage. Yeah, you're right, Anne. Sorry, I'm like trying to backtrack here. What prompted my spiritual journey? Well, I've always been a little spiritual, a little witchy even, I would say, because my first best friend was my aunt. She's like a young aunt, and she's very cool, very mystical, very spiritual, and funny, like real, down to earth, like great person. I'd like stay over her house and watch movies till like 3 in the morning and just like hang out and crack each other up. But we'd also go to the beach in the middle of the night when the full moon was out and charge our candles. So I was kind of clued into that kind of stuff. My grandmother too, she's a bit witchy, I guess you would say. But I lost a lot of that in myself, I'd say, through the later half of high school. And then when my mother was passing away, or when I found out my mother was dying, I was very afraid of death at that point, and I ended up buying the Tibetan Book of the Dead to kind of like help me cope, I guess, a little. And as I was reading that book, like all of this stuff just came like flooding back to me. So I just kind of continued with my reading and everything. And my mom passed like really quickly. I'd say I like knew that she was passing. Like this was all like I was in the States and she was in England. She was living in England, so it was kind of weird, like the distance and stuff. So, but that was basically what triggered it. And then a month or two after she died, I found out I was pregnant, and I didn't think that I could get pregnant. So, being pregnant, having a baby is a very holy and spiritual experience on its own. So, that's kind of what triggered all of it for me. I think that you can make mistakes in anything, but I think that the mistakes, in terms of can you make mistakes in spiritual work, I think that the mistake would be something like not protecting yourself. That's certainly a mistake that I made when I first started doing Reiki, where my energy was drained and I had a really bad experience where I got very sick. Like not like deathly sick, but I got like a really, really bad cold. That was certainly a mistake I could make. When I was younger, I made a mistake by doing a love spell on someone, and we did get together and we did date for 4 years, and it was the worst, scariest relationship I've ever been in, and I had to get a restraining order on him. It was very like much like straight out of the craft, like no joke. It was like really scary. So I think that you could certainly make mistakes by not being protected, not being educated enough in what you're doing, not setting a proper intention, and for trying to mess with other people's free will. Like I was very young then, I was like 16, so I'm not hard on myself about it. I didn't understand free will back then. I don't think I read enough about it. How could I? I was 16. So I think that those are like the main mistakes that I see people make. Okay. Hello. My brother's doing great. His hair's grown back. He's put on a lot of weight, like muscle. So thanks for asking. He's doing great. Um, Advice on how to grow a business in spirituality. Totally, this is something I love to talk about, especially with those who I work with. Like I'm a Reiki teacher. I hate to say that people are my students because I feel like they teach me and I teach them. I don't really look at the dynamic to be that way. But for the purpose of clarification, for those who I teach Reiki to, I usually really love to talk about what's going on um, in terms of how you can actually make this work for your business. So I say that my biggest thing is that you have to give people something for free. You have to give them something out of the purpose of your heart, of being genuine. Like the reason I make these Reiki sessions, it was nothing to do with marketing. It was not like I was trying to, oh, I'm gonna put this up and then, whatever, I'm gonna charge for my videos. Like, it wasn't like that. It was a way for me to like express this energy and this like want for helping other people that I had within me. And that's where these videos came from. At first I started this channel and it was years ago, like years before I even would consider like when this channel started, and I did like a few ASMR videos and it just never felt right, but it was a way of giving back because I did find them so relaxing. So once I put my own practice into what I was doing, everything flowed much better. So I'd say that you have to have some way of giving people something, and in doing so, you put your own self out there so that you're able to be contacted, so people can see whether or not they vibe with you. Um, YouTube unintentionally has turned into how I get most of my business because people will see me, and if they resonate with me or if there's something that I'm talking about that they're interested in, they might approach me to work with me, or they might buy a necklace from me, or they might have me make a necklace for them, or get a reading, or anything like that. That wasn't what I intended it to be in the first place. I want this to be a space for people who might not have access to healing, might not have access to like a Reiki person, or might not feel comfortable even going to one because, it's kind of intimate. It's like an intimate experience, or it's personal. It's just like maybe going to therapy or something like that. And in a sense, like that kind of thing where people might not feel like comfortable right away in doing so. So that's there. That's what I use this channel for, as like something that people can access. But it turned into a way for me to also put myself out there for people who might want to become my clients. So I think that having something that you give for free, whether that's a blog or a vlog, or a really beautiful Instagram that has like information for people that you share, that you express and share knowledge so that people can have that, that's what I would say is like the best thing to do for yourself, and to have multiple areas of things that you can work on. So I do Reiki, but I also make necklaces, and I also do readings, and I teach. So it kind of like I have a lot of options, at least on what I can offer. Sorry, covering the camera. My mother was like 56 when she died. Sorry, I'm just trying to read some. If you feel like you're losing energy when you're sleeping, I would first make sure that you have enough nutrients in your system, because that sounds like something that can be a nutrient deficiency. If you can, I would not even go to a doctor, maybe go to like an herbalist or something like that that would have some knowledge in that area. And then I would take a stone with you to sleep, or have something by your bed. I love working with crystals. You probably know that. Lepidolite is one I've been working with a lot lately. That's great for sleep. Aura quartz is another great one for protecting your aura. Fluorite. And something that you hold and you put in your attention into to protect and preserve your energy, and also potentially increase your energy while you're sleeping so you wake up refreshed. So hopefully that helps. I have some, sorry, I'm like bending this down. I have some videos already recorded on dreams and stuff, but my best recommendations for what you can do to protect your dreams, I have these little like shelves over here. I love smoky amethyst for dream protection, and again, setting that intention to be protected while you sleep. A little bit about Kundalini energy. Is it a good idea to hold back its influences on physical indulgence? Well, Kundalini energy, working with that is like a really personal experience. I don't like to give too much information on it. One, because I'm not super knowledgeable about it. I only know through my own experiences. But it's certainly something that you hear a lot of warnings about. So you might want to just keep doing your own research is like the best thing, and do what feels right to you. I think that whenever there's a question in terms of, should I do this? Is this good for me? I'm thinking about working on raising my Kundalini. I'm thinking about, doing some type of sacred work or some type of experience for myself. I really love to use like pendulums for something like that. Like a yes or no can be really simple. It could be a muscle test, but I think that it's important to check in with yourself and find out if you're ready for it. And through asking those questions, you can find out, is this, let's say you get a no, is there something I still need to work on? Yes. Do I still need to work on this? No. Do I still need to work on this? Yes. And you can kind of like identify and like communicate in a sense with your own higher intelligence that way, through the slight variations, the subtle movements of your own body dictating the spin of the pendulum. Yeah, don't do love spells. Sorry, I'm like covering the camera. I don't recommend doing love spells. I only recommend love on, if you're totally already in a relationship and you both are actively like, I really want to increase our energy together, and it's like very mutual. Otherwise, it's, not great. Thank you guys. Yes, I agree. Smoky amethyst is the best. Do I think big pharma is bad, specifically the mental health industry? That's a really tricky question. In a very small scope of the question, I would say yes. I do think that big pharma, for the most part, is bad. I think that it's run in a very financially driven way that might not necessarily do what it claims to do in terms of helping people. I think that if Big Pharma really wanted to help people, they would make certain things legal. They would stress the importance of healthy diet and take out a lot of the chemicals that they're putting into our food out of it. But in terms of mental health, I think that, I don't want to, this is like a weird way to say it, but mental health can be looked at in such a way that it's very personal, it's very specific and unique to each person, regardless of the diagnosis. Like, someone's depression is different from someone else's depression. They might have a bond, they might understand each other, but it's different. It's got different causes, it has different timelines, it has different triggers, it has different ways in which it's expressed. Some people are very like withdrawn when they're depressed, some are just angry, so in terms of the fact that, that's how I feel like it's all very unique to each person. I think that the treatment is very unique to each person too. I think that, for example, I've been very fortunate to work with people who are dealing with mental health, the things going on with them, and we've seen some great results together. I think that that might not work for the next person. So it's kind of like, do I think that people who have mental health diagnosis should be, be taking stuff? I mean, if it helps them, if it makes them feel better, I don't think that it's always the best thing to do. And I'm specifically more against it when it comes to children, because they're not necessarily apt enough to communicate exactly how they're feeling, or know what's just a flux within their own system, or what's, something that's happening in their life and something they can control. It's very tricky. So I could say that it's specifically something that I like to avoid with children. But who am I to say? I'm not the one to judge, you know. I think that you should do whatever works for you. And sorry, my answer is kind of vague, but that's kind of what I would go for. Thank you. Thanks, Kim. Thank you so much. What shape of gemstone is the best for stress relief? Whatever feels right to you. I mean, I really like spheres because they just have this like very glowy kind of way that they give off energy. It's like subtle. These palm stones are great. That's personal. I guess it's just whatever feels right for you to be that way. You can look at it like a point too. Like if you wanted to relieve stress, you might put it in your dominant hand and point it outward. So I'm a righty, so I mean that my dominant hand is my right hand, and point it outward and like send the stress outward and just kind of focus on that. And you might put something like a rose quartz in your other hand and like focus on bringing in love. So shape really doesn't play too big a role in my opinion. If big pharma is bad, then why don't herbalists make themselves more accessible, affordable? Because they need to live too. I don't understand this question so much. I don't know what you mean by like how expensive they are, because the herbalists that I've definitely gone to naturopaths in the past, and it was very expensive. This was when I was dealing with the pre-cancer cells, if you guys have heard me talk about that. And it was expensive. It was really expensive. But it was expensive because my insurance didn't cover it, you know, so I had to pay completely out of pocket for it. But each person, you know, I'm sure there are people who are going to try to rip you off. I don't mean to say that everybody who is an herbalist is some, like, whatever. But you're paying for, like, their knowledge, their expertise, and the fact that they are kind of, like, almost working behind the scenes to, like, get some stuff to you. All of that said, though, this is stuff that you can educate yourself on. When I was dealing with, like, that pre-cancer, and other times in my life when I was dealing with stuff, I did lots of research on myself and I took it into my own hands. I think that putting this idea that an herbalist, a naturopath, a doctor, a big pharma, a surgeon is going to fix you is completely giving away your power. You have to bring it into your own responsibility. So I changed my diet. I got myself different herbs. I did different processes for myself when just sending love or different things that I did to heal myself. And after 6 months, I went back and I had no traces of precancer or the things that even caused the precancer in the first place. So I think that it's unfair to say that something is too expensive necessarily. Well, it's not unfair. I'll take that back. But it's something that you have to understand as part of your responsibility to do the research. You can look things up online. There's so many free websites that give you tons of information on herbs and different things. And muscle testing. So, you know, when you go to a doctor or not a doctor, I guess, but maybe a chiropractor, and they ask and then they push down on your arm. It's very similar to using a pendulum. So if you were trying to find out if an herb is good or bad for you, things that I've done, you know, I'm not saying go out and take everything that you come across, but I used my pendulum to find out what would be best for me. And I have a video on pendulums, but the way that they work is your body knows. There's an infinite knowledge within your body. If you can just, you know, play with that for a second, the slightest little, you know, you're not trying to move, but like you'll sway a little, your blood will pump, something will happen that will cause your hand to move in the slightest way, and that causes the pendulum to swing and answer the question for you. Okay. It depends on where your precancer cells are. If it's like a CIN type thing, like CIN 1 or 2 or something like that, I like to use an egg, like a yoni egg for that. But shungite is very good for cleansing the body physically, so I would recommend that one the best. Thank you. This is from someone who I met off through my channel, and this one as well. These are some herbs. Those are some stones. Here. Those are some stones that I glued some stuff to. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Stones will definitely try to escape from you if you're not ready for them or if they're not a good time for you. So if you ever have something that just gets misplaced, you'll see this a lot with high vibrational stones such as like Herkimer diamonds or moldavite. They'll just disappear. And that's because it's just not the right time for them, and you'll find them at the right time typically. Okay, yeah, I had CIN 23, um, and they didn't get it all the first time, so they were saying I was gonna have to have a hysterectomy, and I was like really freaking upset about that. And that's when I started seeing the naturopath. They gave me 6 months anyway, and I did a lot of stuff. I would highly recommend checking out the right vitamins that you should be taking, because I do think that you should listen to your gut. You know, I'm not saying don't get the surgery. I don't mean anything like that. But heal yourself along with it. Like, there's a lot of foods that are really good for healing that. I know like zinc is really important. Building up your immunity is hugely important. So there's different tinctures that I take to increase my immunity. Specifically, I really love Host Defense, which is like, it's kind of expensive. It's not cheap. Host Defense Immunity Booster. It's like a mushroom blend. It works really, really well for building that up. Making sure you're taking your vitamins and have like a lower sugar and lots of fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff. And yeah, I healed that and the other stuff that went along with it. So good luck to you. I would definitely bring it into your power still, you know, like take your responsibility. Okay, sorry. Black tourmaline is a good starter stone. Oh, it's called shungite. Shungite. It's actually, this isn't one. It's like a black stone. It's fairly light when you hold it. It's from Russia. So, shungite. I think that's how you say it. Shungite. There's imperial shungite or special shungite, which is like really expensive, and then there's like a regular kind. I have an egg made out of it, which is pretty cool. Sorry, I lost you guys. Black tourmaline is pretty intense. You're right. And it needs to be cleansed a lot. So I would, make sure you clean it very often. Am I able to certify in Reiki? Yes, I'm a Reiki teacher, so that's one of the things that I do. Going backwards. My favorite videos to make are honestly whatever I feel inspired to do at the time. It's all very different. Yeah, you can put your pendulum over any food or drink or anything. Like, would this be good for me? Like, I've done that before when I'm like, I know I should be eating something different, but I'll like just ask like, can I go get this crap food with so and so? No. Or I always say, is it in my best interest? Like, you shouldn't say can I or can't I, because there is no can and can't. Like, you can do whatever you want. So okay. Sorry, I'm just like trying to go backwards. Is it expensive to grow organic herbs? No, it can be very cheap, very inexpensive. In terms of dominant and receiving hands, when you're ambidextrous, or if you were born left-handed but were kind of trained to be right-handed, because I know some of those people as well, you can basically go with right and left, right as being dominant and left as being not, or just set your intention for how you want the energy to flow. Like if you feel ambidextrous and you want the energy to flow through your left hand and in through your right, like that's perfectly fine. That's true. I agree that it is supply and demand when it comes to herbal stuff for sure. And if it was more on demand, it would be more accessible. I mean, like, I do Reiki and, I charge a decent amount for it at this point because I have so much stuff going on. It's just part of what I have, like, it's part of what I have to do. So I feel like I'm in the zone where someone might say, oh, like, you charge too much. Like, how can you be helping people? It's not fair to other people or anything like that. But it's like, well, I make free videos. Like that's what I can offer at least to someone to who is in a position where they don't have the funds or the accessibility to get to someone who does Reiki. Sorry, I keep blocking it. Someone that doesn't have any, like a starter pack. Do you mean starter pack for crystals, if that's what you mean? Citrine, rose quartz, smoky quartz, clear quartz, and amethyst would be my my suggestions for a starter pack. Hey! Yeah, you're gonna get your Reiki. Hi, Jose. It's so nice to see you here. Got an attunement, and I've been studying Reiki, but I don't feel comfortable doing Reiki on other people. No, Reiki 1 is all about self-Reiki anyway. Like, you can certainly start to practice on other people, but Reiki 1 is the personal level. It's all about doing something within yourself, learning to balance your own energies, learning to work with these signs that kind of come up to show you maybe your energy is off in some way, or whatever. Like, it's about yourself. That's what Reiki number 1 is, Reiki level 1. It's all about the self. And if you feel guided to and you pursue Reiki level 2, that is the practitioner level, where you learn more about, we do distance Reiki first of all, which is incredible and amazing, but you also learn to work with people. You learn different signs that might come up when you're in the middle of a session, and all other kinds of stuff that's more as a practitioner. So you can't really work with people and have them be your client when you only have like Reiki 1, but you can once you have Reiki 2, and then Reiki 3 is kind of split into 2, where there's just Reiki Master, where you learn like the master symbol and you get attuned to that symbol and work with higher things like cutting cords, psychic surgery, and things like that. And then the other half of Reiki 3 is the teacher portion. So I have the teacher portion, and that's when you can attune other people to Reiki. Do I use cannabis in my practice? No, but I use it in my personal life. I use it when I am meditating sometimes. I like to. I use it for before bed. I'm not a drinker. I don't have anything against it, but after like I got kind of sick last year, I just stopped drinking, and I used to drink a lot, like when I was younger, like much younger. I drank tons, like it was ridiculous. I could like hang with the best of them. It was like kind of impressive. But when I stopped doing that, I like to smoke weed at night, or I have like a pen, like a vape pen. I like gummies, and I use them specifically, like I use them with intention. I don't think that smoking weed is a bad thing, but I do think it can become a bad thing if it's mindless, if it's habitual and not necessarily, I mean, everyone has their own reasons. If you're in chronic pain, like that's a different story. I'm not, so I don't have that issue. But for me, it's like the end of the night, all my stuff is done, my son is sleeping, and I'm gonna meditate, or I'm gonna write in my journal, or I'm gonna do something else. I don't do it when I'm in a Reiki practice. I don't do it like while I'm working with someone, and I just don't think that would honor that person. But I've certainly done it while I'm doing and then done self Reiki, and I think that it's pretty nice. The tarot reading is in the previous video that I messed up on. It's kind of embarrassing, so I'll try to put it up for you guys because I'm very distracted right now, but that's where the tarot reading will be. I am 35 years old, almost 35 and a half. I've never heard of Opeth. I don't sell crystals. I sell necklaces. And yes, I ship internationally. I have a video on pendulums. If you guys want to check that out, it should be pretty easy to find in my library. Have I ever astral projected or attempted to? I don't try to astral project. I have only done it through dreams. I have had out-of-body experiences, but I would not call that astral projection. I've left my body and explored my bedroom, but I've never gone beyond my house, so I wouldn't necessarily call that astral projection because I was not visiting or seeing something or anything like that. I think that people kind of try too hard sometimes to astral project, and that's what holds them up. So be aware of your dreams and what's going on, and you can set an intention to be open to that kind of stuff, and it happens at like the right time. Through my astral projection, I've seen my mother in the astral plane when she was more recently deceased. It wasn't like, right after, but she wasn't gone that long. And I've seen her in the phase of the astral planes where the people are, or the energies, these astral bodies are very focused on their work, like their work that they were supposed to be doing while they were here. I see the astral planes, or as these steps almost, and they don't go up, but these basically steps of kind of like awakening consciousness in that dimension. So sometimes people are very much still attached to this world, so they'll still feel like they have to do something, whether that's finishing a novel or getting some kind of work done. And that's where I saw my mother. She was kind of there and still working, because she wrote like articles for like geeky, nerdy like websites and stuff, and whatever. She was like always busy, like writer. She was like a writer online, so always busy. Thank you guys, you're so nice. Okay, I'm just going to try to find a couple more questions. Do you think that some people could see the colors of the aura, or this is a myth? People can definitely do that. I have doubts and would like to hear your opinion. Yeah, you can definitely do that. I don't see auras like just walking around, but I've certainly been around healers and gurus and people of that nature who they're seeing me, like I can tell. And they most of the time will always say the same thing about my aura, which is like this yellowy, orangey, like apricot color. Sometimes my teacher will tell me that she sees this like purple, like a little like violet flame, like kind of like streak going through. I see aura color specifically, not with my eyes. Like I see it, it's so hard to explain, but I see it as I'm doing a session, and specifically attunements. I see them very often when I'm doing attunements on people, but where I'm kind of like, I like to close my eyes and really go within when I'm doing a Reiki session, and like really focus on any symbols that come up, any images, any feelings within my body, or anything at all. And that's when I will see people's auric colors. Okay, I'm going to do one more question. Aw, thanks, Udachi. That's funny. Oh, I need a moderator. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm definitely getting older and I'm seeing it. And it's not a bad thing. It's fine. Say, watching videos. Sorry. I'm going to try to find one more thing. There's so many. Thank you, Tracy. Okay, have you ever talked about your tattoo? I did talk about my tattoo. I don't know if it was this video or the one before. Thank Anthony. Jeez, thank you. Thank you so much. Any significant thought in astrological terms? I'm very new to the idea that, yeah, Carolina, you can do it. I'll set you up next time. I do feel like this is a newer age, an age with feminine energy, and by that, feminine energy is known as being a healing energy as well. Like, this is not woman, man. This is not penis, vagina. This is nothing like that. This is not anything along those lines. So please don't think of it that way, because both feminine and masculine energies are necessary. They're both very beautiful and important, and they're all within all of us all the time. Whether you externally, are more feminine or more masculine, or anything in between, it's there. So being in a more feminine energy now, you're seeing a lot of healers come up. You're seeing a lot of more people questioning things and not necessarily just acting or following out orders. And I don't mean to say that masculine energy is mindless. I don't mean that at all. Masculine energy is more logical. It's more, I would say, aggressive in a sense, and it's more about doing. So sometimes we can get very caught up in the doing and not have that introspection and kind of learn and understand and see how we can make changes and heal and nurture. So yeah, I do feel that shift, and it's really interesting. However, it's not something I think about too often. It's the whole state of the world right now is, I mean, I think that every point in history that we're able to kind of trace back to, at least like in the shorter kind of frame of it. I mean, we certainly know about like ancient Kemet and stuff like that, but we don't know enough about something like that. But right now, it's like, as far back as we can see, the world has always been in some kind of polarity situation of like turmoil and stress. It's always been there for like, again, like in as much as that we can actually see or that we have a history on. And I do feel like it won't be that way forever. I feel like we do have a chance to bring it out of that darkness or that turmoil or that war or stress or unjust kind of nature, but it's going to take everyone, and it's going to take people to heal themselves within first, and that's very much part of the feminine energy. It's going within, healing, and then allowing that to kind of come out. So that's kind of how I look at that. Okay, this will be my last question because I do have some errands to run. Any stone I could recommend for dealing with perfectionism? That would be a tough one again because it's something that you have to work with for yourself. But I would say that ocean jasper or orbital jasper, they're the same, would be my highest recommendation because it's about going with the flow. And I think that perfectionism blocks that flow sometimes. So I would suggest orbital jasper, ocean jasper, which is really gorgeous. It's a really beautiful mineral. As well as maybe if you find that perfectionism to be playing in your thoughts constantly and you're trying to like oversee how things will play out and it's kind of blocking you, I would suggest a peach aventurine, which is known as the whisper stone, and it's very like calming, and it kind of just like, I don't want to say shuts you up, but it kind of just like soothes that like over perfecting kind of mentality and just like relax there a little bit. Okay. All right. So you guys, thank you guys so much. It was so nice. Who else is Googling ocean jasper? It's gorgeous. Maybe I have a little piece on my desk here. I feel like I have everything here. This isn't a great example. I just kicked my bowls. I don't know if you heard that. Orbital jasper is so gorgeous. I don't think I have a good representation here. This is like a little piece of one. And you can't see the orb so much. Like there's like a little orb there. But anyway, they come in like really beautiful different designs. They're just gorgeous. And a lot of them you'll see will have this like druzy in it. So like specifically a sphere or something bigger, maybe even like a cabochon or a pocket stone will have like a little, like if this is this stone, it will have a, thank you so much, thank you, will have like a little cut in it, like a little indentation, and it'll almost look like an imperfection, you know, but stones are stones and they're all cool and beautiful. But when you really look into it, you'll see it's like sparkly and just gorgeous. It's like, it's really awesome. So, all right, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for, first of all, bearing with me through the first video or first live stream, which was like embarrassing. I'm blaming it on Mercury retrograde. But thank you guys so much for the love and everything. And I will be uploading videos very soon. I have some recorded. I just haven't been able to edit them. It's been kind of crazy in my house in a good way, but you know, distracting, I guess is a way to put it. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, I'll put this up again on my, I'll use the community tab for when I'm going to go live. However, if you would like to, I am planning to go live at some point very soon, not today, maybe later today, but probably not today, on Facebook in my Facebook Lunanate page. So if you have not already liked that, you could if you want to, no pressure, but I'm going to do live stuff there as well. So, all right, cool. Bye. Thank you.